Inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
Not having the money or thinking that they can't get the money is, I think, what stops a lot of people from buying rental properties. Andy and Erica, how did you guys get the money to buy your rentals?
Okay, so for the first property, we just really buckled down and saved our money to put 20% down on the first property, got a regular loan.
Then with our second property, we took the rental income mixed with our additional savings that we continued to do and got the down payment for the second property.
And then the third property, we were able to refinance and take the equity from our first property to buy the third. We're just regular people and we're just saving our money and buying rental properties.
What Andy and Erica are doing is really a timeless strategy that people have been doing for thousands of years. They're saving their money, they're buying a property, and then letting their properties buy them more properties. On the show today, we're going to walk through exactly what they're doing. We'll go over their numbers and see how everything's working out for them. Joining us on the show today from Columbus, Ohio, are Andy and Erica. We'll take a really quick break to thank our sponsors. We'll come right back and we'll jump into the interview. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to finance a rental property, reach out to Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She has a loan program where she only cares about your deal. She doesn't need to see your pay stubs, your bank statements, or your tax returns. The only thing she's going to look at is the deal. She wants to know, does the property cash flow? If it does, she'll give you a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. Now, the rates are going to be a little bit higher than a full doc loan, but it's still a great deal. She can close quickly, and there's no hassle. If you want to learn more, reach out to Chaley personally at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com. NMLS 42056.
Rental Income Podcast.
So, Andy, what would you say is your long-term goal? Like, why are you buying rental properties?
We would like financial freedom. I work a day job. Erica works 2 jobs, one on the weekends, one during the week. And we have a 3-year-old. So, time is kind of what we're really looking to have more of, essentially. Sure. And, our goal, I think if we hit 10 properties, we can get a lot of time back.
And where are you guys at right now?
We currently have 3 of our 10 goal properties.
Okay. Do you have a monthly cash flow number that you want to hit?
If we hit 10, that would be roughly $4,500 a month. Okay. Which would be very comparable to at least me stepping away from my day job, and I could focus on rentals, 100%.
Sure. I mean, that sounds pretty reasonable to me. And where are you guys right now, cash flow wise? Like, just ballpark. I know it probably varies month to month, but
ballpark about $1,500.
Is your main focus right now just to buy more rental properties and to continue to build your portfolio?
That's correct. Be that we both have day jobs, we're not using this for any of our bills by any means. So all the money that's coming in, we're just reinvesting it back into our company.
Whose idea was it to get started buying rental properties?
That was it. That was Andy's idea. Yeah. He started getting inspired about it.
Were you on board right away, Erica?
I was interested, but he started listening to a lot of podcasts and doing a lot of listening. And there was one particular, honestly, I can't remember what it was, one particular thing that we listened to that really was like, just jump in, get your first property. And I remember actually sitting at the table and being like, okay, let's do this.
Let's do it. That's great.
Yeah.
So how much work are you guys putting into it? Like, are you guys finding properties and doing gut rehabs, or are you buying more properties that are ready to go?
We try to focus on a turnkey property as much as possible, just due to our schedules. The first property was completely turnkey. As we saw what kind of work needs to go into the next property, we lowered the bar a little bit and realized we could invest more time And, as we're buying more properties, we're putting more time into the preliminary aspect of getting it ready for a renter. But
I think prices are going up too, though. And that's why we're having to put in a little more energy, but none of it is like serious rehab work. We've been doing mostly like the lipstick,
paint, carpet, stuff like that.
Minor electrical work
Yeah.
For the down payments, are you doing like 20% down, like just regular traditional financing?
Yes, right now we are.
How about saving money? So, saving money is hard. There's always something that you can buy when you have some extra money. So how are you guys doing that? Like, how are you staying disciplined and saving money?
We live in our means and probably done a little bit lower. I'm still driving a 2005 Honda. I would like a new car, but it's not needed.
Yeah, I have a 2013 Kia Soul.
Yeah,
but we're fine with that. We're good with the things we have. We're not super fancy people.
We approach life. We get what we need, but we don't always get what we want.
We'd rather do things than buy things. So.
Okay. Yep. And how are you splitting up the work?
I am doing more of the, kind of handyman work. If something's broken in the house, I'll go and investigate, try to fix it myself. Where Erica's doing more of the face-to-face with the renters, background checks, kind of getting the sales up on the ship in that aspect.
Is there a certain formula that you guys use, like the 1% rule or something like that you're looking for when you're buying a property?
Yeah, when we see a deal that we're interested in, before we even go inside the house, we work out exactly that, the 1% rule. If this is something after, money down, final cost of the home, even with, say, any extra work that might need to be done within the house, if it's needs floor work or something major, that final cost, can we rent this particular property at least 1%?
Okay.
If it doesn't necessarily meet that, that's kind of our benchmark. There's got to be a great reason as to why. Maybe if it's in a good area that we know is prospering, and in a couple of years the equity might exceed that, but that's our baseline.
All right, the 1% rule, just to make sure everyone understands, the 1% rule is that if you're going to buy a property for $100,000, you want it to rent for $1,000 a month. So all right, so you guys are buying turnkey properties that meet the 1% rule. What kind of neighborhoods are they in?
The three we have are, I would say, kind of upper C class neighborhoods. They at times have been low C, maybe even D, but where we're looking are prospering areas. And, I think right now we're able to handle that particular neighborhood. It's not, if something were to go wrong, where maybe we couldn't get a renter in for a few months, it's not going to break the bank.
And you guys have been doing this now for about 2 years?
January of 2020.
Okay.
Yes.
How has everything been working out so far?
So far, we have all of our renters still in the properties.
Your original renters.
They just signed their third year. We had our second property sign their second, and then we have our third renter in there now. She's been in there for about 6 months, and they've all paid their rent on time. They've paid all their bills, and we haven't had any issues, but that's because we go through a pretty rigorous screening process, and it's been working out great so far.
What are you looking for? Like when you're looking for a perfect tenant, I mean, it sounds like you're doing a great job of picking the right people. So like, what are you looking for? Like what's your criteria to rent to somebody?
I usually, we're looking for obviously someone that has been employed for, I think, at least a year at where they are. We're looking for a credit score, a clean background check. And we require that the month that they make at least 3 times the rent per month for their income. So honestly, I've gotten hundreds of people coming at me to get into these properties, and I am turning so many people away just by saying, I have to say to them, like, did you read the qualifications? And then they're like, okay, bye. And then I have a pre-screening call, and then we do a background check and a walkthrough at that point. So it's pretty intense. It usually gets down to like 1 or 2 people in the end.
Now, has it been hard to find properties? I mean, it sounds like you're buying good properties in decent neighborhoods that are attracting lots of good tenants. Like, has it been hard or challenging to find these properties?
I'd say, yeah, current state it is. When we were first doing this, it there was an influx of properties, and we have a friend on, that's our realtor that's on speed dials, and we can call her up and we'll be there within probably 24 hours.
Yeah. People are definitely catching on to this area, though. When we first started doing it, we got a lot of wide eyes, but that particular area of our first 2 prices are going up, and every once in a while now we're seeing when they were like, oh, should we jump? And that's kind of where we're at right now. Whereas before there were definitely more options.
Let's take a look at your deals here and see if we can kind of figure out more exactly about how everything is working with you guys. So for your first property, what did you pay for it?
Our first property we purchased for $76,000, and that's currently rented at $985,000. The mortgage is $625,000. However, that's after a refinance.
Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. But so basically what happened is you bought this property and then that property appreciated. You took some equity out of that property to buy another property, right?
Correct.
That is really, really awesome. So, okay, so you have it rented for how much? What did you say?
$985 per month.
$985, okay. All right, so $985. You've got the mortgage at $625. Now, how do you guys account for repairs or vacancy or just other things that are going to come up?
So, be that we have our normal day-to-day income, we just keep all of our rental income in an account. We don't necessarily budget out, say, repairs into a separate account. Our first year, our repairs were like roughly 14% of our income. This past year, where we've had 3 properties, we've had a little bit more unexpected repairs or appliances that needed to be purchased. I think it was roughly 24% of the total year's income, a little higher than we were expecting, but be that we're not using this money for any of our day-to-day. We've got it there ready.
The money, though, that we have put in for like the major stuff is there. We're investing in our properties and it's going to last a long time. So it doesn't feel, like we're just throwing money into it on little repairs. Like we put a new furnace in. It's going to last a really long time, things like that. So it doesn't feel as bad when it's not something silly like, a plumbing.
Sure.
Some little.
Right. Yeah. Like we're purchasing a new roof for our third property. And obviously it's going to be more money than we want to spend this year, but
yeah, I mean, that's going to last you
later. We don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to last you 20, 30 years, something like that. So yeah, that's a big expense, but it's not something that's going to come up every year. Now, when you first bought this property, how much was your mortgage payment at first?
I believe it was roughly around $500.
$500. Okay. So it was $500 when you bought it, and now it's $625. And you took money out and you bought another property. Did you take out the money for the down payment for the property or enough money to buy the property with cash?
We bought the property in cash.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's skip ahead to that real quick. So this is your third property. How much did you pay for that property?
We purchased it for $56,000. Now the refinance wasn't the full $56,000. We still used part of our rental income as a portion of that.
Yeah.
But between the two, we were able to buy the home upright and not have a traditional mortgage.
Okay, so $56,000, and how much is that property rented for?
$750 a month right now.
$750. Okay, and then if we break your taxes and insurance down to a monthly amount, how much are you spending every month?
Just around $135.
Okay, well, I mean that's pretty awesome. I mean, you think about it, like your mortgage on that property is like $125, because like that's how much the mortgage went up on the first property when you took the money out.
Yeah.
And even if, say we didn't even have that property, we would still be profitable at the mortgage of the first house, being that it's higher with our rental income.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And that's one of those things that, so this first property appreciated, and that's how you were able to pull out the equity, right?
Correct. And that's, kind of going back to what we discussed before, don't look at the full 10 right away. Look at the one, get started, and you're going to start to see the doors open.
Yeah.
And we're hoping we can do the same thing with our fourth property. Our second property is also appreciating and looking really good right now. So we're hoping that when we go to buy a fourth, that would be at least a big chunk of money we can put down.
At least the down payment.
I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, you can't count on appreciation. I mean, obviously appreciation, what we've had in the last 2 years has been phenomenal, and not something that's going to go on forever or something that you can necessarily predict. But the reality is it happened, your property appreciated, and you were able to put that money to a better use buying another property. And, I think I think that's really, really pretty cool. How much is that first property worth now?
I believe it was, when we refinanced, it was $135.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. All right. So now for that first property, did you find that on the MLS?
That we actually found on realtor.com.
Okay. And then the third property, did you find that on realtor.com too?
That was actually my grandparents' old house. And I was up there for the auction. It was a rainy day. There were not a lot of people there. And they were hoping for more from the auction. And we had kind of discussed maybe if it was going to go for super low that I would bid. I really didn't think that was going to happen, but it wasn't doing well in the auction. And I was like, this is an opportunity. I just need to jump on it. So I just bid on it and we got it.
Wow.
Crazy, but I think it was a good decision.
So was the $56,000 you paid for the property, was that like just a total steal? Was that way under market value?
I think they were trying to get $75 for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, an auction is something that you don't see every day. Did you learn anything going through that process?
Absolutely. I mean, part of it was just that I am not a person that buys houses regularly. I didn't realize that, you do have to pay fees. I think I actually bought the house at something like more like 50, but there were probably like $5,000 in auction fees that we had to pay and things like that. So, it was a little bit like, okay, are we going to be able to refinance and get the money for this house? But it really did all work out in the end. And I do think that we got a steal on the house. So
I think we kind of lucked out in a way, that it was her grandparents' house. We, had some history with it.
And it is as is,
Yeah, but going through the process, I think that was a great way to go through, kind of had our hands held in the sense that it wasn't completely ambiguous. We're able to look at that as a means of getting a house now, knowing, we can get a house that's as is and what to expect, maybe what kind of problems to expect. If you get something $20,000 below market value,
It has been a little bit of our problem child as far as the 3 properties, but we're still doing really well.
But, if we got it for 75, we would have a different expectation of what we're getting, where we've got that money and we're putting it back into the house, the difference and making it a $75,000 house.
All right. So just to review, so for the first property, you bought that with money that you saved up and then you got a loan. The third property, you took money out of the first property and bought that with cash. For the second property, how did you pay for that?
We continue to save money through the year. And as we saw our accounts grow with the rental or the cash flow, we combined what we had and were able to put down a down payment for 20%.
Wow. Okay. So you saved money from your jobs, but you also saved the cash flow. So it's almost like your portfolio helped you buy the second property.
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's great. All right. Now let's hit some numbers real quick. So how much did you pay for the second property?
Second property we purchased for $84,000.
Okay. And what's it rented for?
It's $945.
$945. Okay. And how much is your mortgage payment?
That's $520 a year, taxes, insurance included.
$520 a month, right?
Or I'm sorry,
okay.
$520 a month.
Okay, $520 a month. Okay. All right, awesome. And so it's the same thing that you're taking all the rent money from all of your properties, you pay the mortgage, you pay whatever bills might come up, and then the rest of the money you're just putting aside so that when something comes up, you've got the money there. If nothing comes up, then you have a down payment for your next property.
Yeah. And so far that's been working out great. We're saving money and we're not dipping into our own savings at all. It's been working out. So
where do you see yourself going from here? It sounds like you're buying a house maybe every 9-10 months. Is that about right?
That's what it looks like. Our initial plan was a house every 2 years, but we're trying to set ourselves up that when the opportunity arises, you've got to take it. So
we're ready for our fourth one now. We're starting to look a little more, and we kind of jumped into the first 2 really quickly, but we kind of laid low a little bit. Now we're ready, I think, for the fourth one.
I think we're going to still shoot for the one every 2 years, but hopefully it continues the way our path is going right now.
I have no doubt it will. It sounds like you're doing everything perfect with your rental properties. You're buying good properties in good neighborhoods. Your numbers are solid. It sounds like you're doing a good job managing your properties. And that kind of goes back to your screening where you're putting good tenants in there. I mean, I can't really find a fault in anything that you're doing. So keep up the great work. If Andy and Erica inspired you and you're ready to buy your first rental property or you want to add to your portfolio, the very first thing you should do is reach out to Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. She has a ton of loan programs. She's got interest-only options. She's got adjustable rate mortgages. Of course, she's got the 30-year fixed. She's got a ton of loan programs, and she can find something customized to you for your situation. If you want to find out more or you want to set up a time to talk to Chaley personally, just go to ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. Make sure you hit that follow button and you'll get notified as soon as the next episode comes out. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.